All right, this is episode 24 of the Geo Bachelor podcast.
Welcome to the Geo Bachelor podcast, a show about everything but nothing at the same time. Two guys that took jobs away from their families and living the Geo Bachelor lifestyle.
Hey, how you doing, Dwayne?
I'm good. You're moving a little bit better than the last time I seen you.
Oh yeah, my arm. It's like I got a note that said, "Hey, you can take a PT test in 3 months," and all of a sudden my arm miraculously started feeling better. So,
Well, you're not complaining as much, so you
no,
got to be feeling a little bit better.
It's like it's a 180. I mean, I can definitely feel that I had surgery. I'm reminded of that, but I don't know. Mobility is coming back, so stitches the incisions are healing, so it's all good. But all right, let's get this started. We are going to do another Would You Rather.
Okay.
So, and I don't know if we've done something similar to this, but would you rather live in Alaska or Hawaii?
Alaska.
See, I kind of figured that you would. And I'm kind of partial to the same way. I've actually never been to Alaska. I've always wanted to do an Alaskan cruise. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
But,
I don't know that I'd do an Alaskan cruise, but I'd go to Alaska. Hawaii, for me, it's the cost. I mean, the beach, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. It's beautiful. There's plenty of things to do and see. But if I had to pick one to live, it would probably be Alaska versus Hawaii.
Well, you got to look at it from a safety standpoint, too. You're out in the middle of the ocean. There's a lot of hurricanes and volcanoes on Hawaii as well.
Well,
But then again, you've got bears, big bears, and wildlife that can kill you. I've seen some Alaska State Trooper.
okay. So you,
Yeah, I'm pretty much an expert on it. Yeah. That's how I get most of my media. So either way, so I pick Alaska, and I said so a few times. But you ready to keep going?
Yeah. We'll
All right.
go on past that one.
That
was, I don't know. I'll give you a 5 on that. That wasn't a very good one.
if you would describe it a little bit better, and we would have a little bit more to talk about.
It's hard to describe it, though, when you interrupt when I get on a point. So I'm just like, well, we'll just let you go with it.
This is how this episode is going. So anyways, the Open started. For you guys that don't know, we are somewhat of a CrossFit podcast as well.
Well, when we first talked about it and came on board with the Geo Bachelors, we do CrossFit style workouts at the campground. So, and we have both been in gyms and done CrossFit. You were introduced back in 2012 time frame, and we had a crew that did CrossFit style workouts. And then the Open comes around, which the Open started around 2011 time frame. And basically what it is, for the folks that don't know what the CrossFit Open is, it's a 5-week test of fitness, essentially. So CrossFit HQ releases a workout or movements, and you have from Thursday 7 p.m. Pacific to Monday, I think it's like 7.
Yeah, it's 5 hour time.
Yeah.
So.
And you have to, couple of ways. You can record yourself, but you have to show a camera and you submit it. Or you have to, obviously I have the camera. You have to show a clock.
Yeah, with a video.
And then you could go to a gym with someone who is certified to be a judge for CrossFit.
I recommend the latter.
Right, me too. There's too much that can go wrong with a video. Yeah. And there, you know, realistically, if you're not showing a big score, like a huge number, they don't even look at it. Because it doesn't matter. Like he scored a 5,
they don't really look at it, and you only have to submit your videos, even if you were judged by a actual judge, when they request it, and it's usually only one workout that you have to submit, and that's like if you're going to the games and stuff, or like you're the top 50 or so.
So this Thursday, came out, and again, for those that don't know, the platform has completely changed this year. Usually Dave Castro does the big announcement. This time it was 3 different countries. One was in
French.
France, and it was all in French, which that was the main one that they posted on. And, there's not a very big group that understands French.
That was pretty funny.
You sent me one from England, and they did the release. My opinion on the release, it didn't have the build-up as it has in the past couple years. Dave Castro, he's got plenty of names, but he did give it the element of the CrossFit Games. You knew, hey, this is kicking off. That's what got me excited. I was not excited watching this release at all.
Yeah, it was definitely a rough. It looked like they had the same camera crew that we do. So
same
which
graphics.
Is also, yeah. So it was pretty bad. I don't think I liked the workout. I did like the workout.
The workout was it for 15?
It's a 15-minute AMRAP of 19 wall balls followed by a 19-calorie row. And essentially you repeat that couplet, two exercises until you hit your 15-minute cap.
Yeah, so you do 19 wall balls, jump on the rower, go 19 calories. Then you go back to the wall balls, back to the rower. And for anyone that's not done a wall ball, what it is you have a medicine ball, 20 pounds for male, 14 pounds for female. The male's target is 10 feet. The female's target's 9 feet. And basically you throw it up, catch it, squat. Throw it up, catch it, squat. Throw it up, catch it, squat.
They burn.
And if you've done burpees and you don't like burpees, you're probably not going to like wall balls either. I think those 2 movements are a full body, just
those are the 2 that
whooping.
Those are the 2 that make me go visit Pukey the Clown.
And then you jump on the rower, and your legs are going to be gassed. Your heart rate's going to be up, and now you have to row for calories,
which is roughly about 45 seconds on the quick end, a little bit faster maybe, and then a minute or so.
But if you're going quick and you go right back to the wall balls, you're going to be smoked. So there's got to be some type of
the transition's going to be horrible. But I don't know. I like rowing. So
I like rowing when it doesn't involve wall balls.
Yeah. Well, the problem is though, you pick up the wall ball, and I feel like I could do 19 unbroken. And then
the first round.
Yeah, the first round. My second round's going to be about a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 split.
Singles.
I hate wall balls. So, especially if you get it just off target and you catch it, and I don't know, I've been hit in the face multiple times with a wall ball. The 30-pound wall ball that I tried, that's the first thing that happened. I got smacked right in the face. It came down a lot quicker than what I thought it was going to. But yeah, the workout itself is called 19.1. So essentially every year, whatever year it is, and then they have the 5 workouts. So 0.1, 0.2 for each of the workouts. Sometimes they do like an A and B, like 2 separate workouts, which kind of brings me back to the first time I ever saw a 13.1 sticker. So I don't know where I've been living, in a hole maybe, but there was somebody that had, what was it? 13.1 on their car as a bumper sticker. And that was actually the year, or it was 2013 when it happened.
So this was really your first introduction to CrossFit.
Yeah, it was the first open I'd ever seen. So I just assumed that they were a CrossFitter doing 13.1. What I didn't know was 13.1 is also the miles for a half marathon.
Yeah. I remember when you brought that up to me, and I'm like, oh my God, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
But,
so,
I mean,
I don't know. I thought it was pretty good.
You definitely had CrossFit on your mind. We knew where your heart was. Yeah. You definitely wasn't for running.
I started, as they say, drinking the Kool-Aid because they relate CrossFit to being a cult, which it can be definitely cultish. But
so usually they'll have the announcement, and past year Dave Castro would announce it, and then you'd have a couple athletes that would actually throw down. They'd film it, and it was usually some of the top athletes in the sport.
Yeah.
Well, the one that we watched, there was 3 athletes. 2 of them I didn't know. The other one was Sam Briggs, who is a monster in the CrossFit. She's already won 2 sanctioned events and she put up a pretty monster score.
Yeah,
for
she's like what 40?
No,
or
she's
something or
mid
late
30s.
30s. I know that she's a master athlete.
Last year she was,
so,
but she'll be back in the individuals this year.
Well, she got 3 tickets pretty much.
Yeah, so after it was released, I was kind of just turned off from the whole thing. I don't even watch the athletes go at it.
Goodness. Your disappointment in life.
I was completely disappointed in the whole way CrossFit HQ is handling this year's games.
It definitely is a downside. But they were attacking a lot of the broadcast, and I'm like, why would you be attacking them? They're trying to do something. I mean, it's not their fault.
They had a short notice, a short window to get things produced. They probably don't have any money. It's probably just like we're doing right here. They're throwing it together the best that they can. And then, over the 5 weeks, it's probably going to improve.
Yeah, and I like this is a transition year because of all the different changes going on. But I would say, next year, I feel like it'll be a lot better. So we'll just have to see what it works. But
I'm just curious if it's going to be carried on because
I think it will.
CrossFit HQ, Dave Glassman or Greg Glassman, Dave Castro, he, I don't think he's a big fan of the games.
No, and he's made that very well known. I mean, he started CrossFit. Well, I don't know if he started CrossFit, but the main push now, besides the attack on Coca-Cola, he does not like Coke. But
I seen a meme that said something about Dave Castro. What's he doing? He said home
wearing a Dave Glassman Greg Glassman is a prick shirt,
drinking a
Coca-Cola. So it's kind of a play because Dave Castro is former Navy SEAL, so he likes to make people hurt, and he was a former BUD/S instructor too, from what I gather. So there's a shirt that always says Dave Castro is a prick.
Yeah, and he's kind of a cocky guy, but I mean, realistically, he knows the movements. He knows how to program. Yeah. He has people around him that can build a test that, is a test of fitness. And that's what it all comes down to, is how fit you are. And for those, if you have not done CrossFit, and forewarning, if you jump in to do the open, they are a good test to see where you're at. Even if you think you're in good shape, I would highly suggest, if you have the equipment to be able to do it, is give it a whirl. It's a humbling experience, which we've both had before. Yep. You think you go into this, I'm sort of ready for this, and then when you do it, and you're like, I'm nowhere close to being ready.
I've never been ready for an open. In fact, my worst shape of the year is probably right when the open starts.
Oh crap! The open's here. Dang it.
So, usually, the open will be next year's open, which is actually going to be this year. Will be in October, so maybe I'll be in a little bit better shape.
Probably not.
Than compared to
But you always say round is a shape.
Round is a shape. But all right. So I was walking through the YMCA yesterday, I think it was, and they've got a big screen that all the announcements, and I guess they've got a triathlon training program.
Is this the Y in Jeff City?
Yes, the Y in Jeff City. So I think we should definitely jump on that. I've got to find my outfit.
That's priority one.
Yeah, priority one, get my outfit, which is essentially a leotard. I don't know what they're called.
So I may just rock the Speedo and do the whole thing in the Speedo.
Just the whole thing. That'd be a little rough on the bike ride. Hopefully nothing pops out. So a little awkwardness. But no, you don't get a chance. We're not doing that. Anyways, back to the point of training and stuff. How's your training going for your marathon?
It's going. Yesterday was kind of a slower day. We only had to do 7.5. It starts ramping up from there. I am excited though, because in about a week I'll be actually doing some running out in Arizona, and I'm not going to have to fight the ice, the cold, and is the weather good enough to go outside today? Which we've been pretty good. It's been some pretty crappy weather, and I think we've only been on the treadmill a couple of times. Like yesterday, we did not run outside. For those of you, and it's not just in Missouri, I know a lot of folks got hit with that wind. And I mean, it was miserable yesterday. 25 plus mile an hour wind is
bad.
You know, I can run in a lot, but I just like, I didn't have the heart to do it that day.
It's just like pointless.
Only if you're going with the wind,
But it's just going to be you in Arizona, right? So your wife still has to do her miles here.
Yeah, she's going to have to suck it up and keep it going.
She's going to be sitting on her treadmill and run.
Yeah, so Phoenix, Arizona. If anyone knows any places to run out there, shoot me a DM so I know where I'm going.
Yeah. So that should be pretty good. What is the actual date? You keep saying, I always get Memorial Day and Labor Day.
It's Memorial
up.
Saturday.
So like
Memorial
May,
weekend
end
Saturday.
of May.
Yep, end of May.
So.
And again, that's in Traverse City, Michigan. To follow on, there is a kayak/bike microbrewery tour.
I'll just tell you, drinking and brewing, horrible idea.
Which, after the marathon, I think the worst part of that whole deal is probably going to be trying to get on a bike, because I'm sure my hip flexors are going to be a little sore. Last time we ran the marathon, we actually did kayak the next day, and it wasn't too bad. And so, because you're using, majority of our upper body for that portion. But the bike, it's only 2 stops, and then the rest of it is kayak. So we get through that first, and then jump on the kayak, and hopefully you're a little bit more numb. We'll be okay.
Yeah. Well, for me, being a larger person, I don't just rub in certain areas. I remember I was doing our little 5K walk there on our one trip overseas. Mm-hmm. And for whatever reason, I was moving my arms so fast, I put friction, and I couldn't put my arms down for a week and a half. It was a horrible idea. So my arms would be shot for kayaking as well. I don't really think that would be a good idea for me. But I don't vacation to work out. That's not true. I do work out on vacation, but
no,
I don't
you
run
don't vacation. You staycation.
I don't run a marathon on vacation. That's for sure. I just do my general row workout. But so we do have some new and exciting news. I say new if I can actually figure it out. We are going to have a website coming up, by the way.
Yeah, I mean it's a still work in process. I don't think it's going to come on board anytime
D-Day's
soon.
in 3 days, so I don't really think
that's not happening. It's
not you don't think I can pull this? No, probably not.
No.
I'm heading back to work for the first time in 3 weeks on Wednesday. So I've been off work for surgery. So I don't think, and the internet at the camper is not exactly kosher. By kosher, I mean none.
Well, I got somebody, and if you just give me a little time and not be hurry up, I want it now, so we can put out a good product, it'll be beneficial.
I'd rather get it done and be like, yeah, product.
Nope, because then you'll be pulling it down because I got to fix this. I don't like that. I don't like this. If you let a professional do it, you'll get what you want.
Well, if a professional was doing this, our podcast would also be a lot different.
Something's got to look good, dang it. Because it sure as heck isn't us or this podcast.
Hey, I'm beautiful in my own mind. I have that opposite thing, like when people see like the body dysmorphia, where like skinny people, they see themselves and they see themselves as fat. I have that opposite factor where I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, good looking dude right there. So,
well, this morning
I've got that going for me.
This morning, and this never happens to me, and I can only say the only reason why it probably happened is because not that very many people had walked into the store. So this morning, or this restaurant, I walked in to get just a breakfast sandwich to go and a cup of coffee, and there was 3 ladies working there, and they were like, "Oh, hey, come on in, have a seat." And I'm like, "No, I need to get something to go if that'd be fine." And the lady's like, "Nope, you have to stay here and eat so I can look at you." I'm like, "Well, I can't. I got a podcast to do," and I threw out our podcast just so you know. And they were always just giving me crap. I think either they had a bet. They was either saying the next person that comes through, we're going to try to make them feel good about themselves no matter what they look like. or they just hadn't had that many people in that day. One of the two.
Yeah.
But either way, I felt pretty good about myself. And then I thought, those ladies have bad taste. That's the only thing I can think of.
Well, I did see a news story about this town, some on KOMU, and it's just like every time I see it, I automatically think about you, and I'm just like, yep, that's your town. So
what is it?
It's not a good news story. I'm not going to bring it up on the podcast.
I guess they'll have to research it.
It's not a very good topic to bring up on the podcast, but.
Well, so back to the restaurant I went to. You had something about tipping that you wanted to talk about.
Tipping. So this all started with a golfer on my favorite podcast, Sore Losers podcast, which I know that you are not a big fan of.
No. And the bad thing is probably a lot like ours.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, there was this golfer, and I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But he's playing in Mexico, I do believe, and his caddy was not able to, Matt Kuchar, that's his name. He was not able to be there, so he had a fill-in caddy, and he offered the caddy $5,000, right? And typical courtesy, which, I mean, I'm not saying it's set in stone, but you're supposed to, or traditionally you tip your caddy 10% of your winnings.
Do you ever have a caddy to tip?
I've actually.
Or is this what you say typically, but I don't think.
Well, I'm just giving you the backstory of why I thought about tipping. And, but I've actually never had a caddy. Have you had a caddy?
Yes. So when we went
that does not surprise me.
So when we went to Jamaica and we played on this course, it was a requirement that we had a caddy, but it wasn't in the like you see where they're packing our bags, right? Yeah. We was actually in a cart, and we got our bags in the cart, and this dude just walked around with us and told us, the lay of the greens and what the distances were, and the whole 9 yards. And we had to tip him. And so I'm not good at golf to begin with, and then here I am trying to play in front of someone. I get nervous, and I don't know why. I already know I stink. So what's it matter? But it makes me play that much worse. It was probably the second worst round of golf I ever played. The worst one I ever played was 2 years ago. It was out in San Francisco playing, and it was a nice golf course, and the friend I was with, he had an uncle that lives out there, and he's the one that took us to this golf course, and you have to play in fours. You can't just play in threes. So they had a guy that was playing singles, and he joined our group. And this dude, he was a good golfer. And I remember the climax of my day was I teed off, and it was close to the clubhouse, and it was on the back nine, and I hit it, and I hadn't been slicing, I'd been hooking, but I sliced one, and it ended up on the putting green where everyone was practicing putting. I bet you there was like 20 people. How I did not hit anybody was just luck. But that was the only green I'd hit all day.
Did you ever play overseas in Qatar with those guys?
No, I never went over there.
Well, anyways, back to the actual tipping part that we were going to go to. So I was at a restaurant, and this is what made me kind of think of this. I don't traditionally, I'm at least a 20% tipper at a minimum. Usually the worst person, or the worse they are, the better I give them a tip, because I can actually see if it's their fault or not. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's the kitchen's fault or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I would say 20% is usually. Now, if you're my parents, I think they live in the old times. I don't
10.
know if it's like 10%. I don't know if they actually do that anymore. But I remember when I was out of high school, shortly after, it was like, no, you tip them 10%, and even back then, I'm pretty sure it was 20%. So I didn't know what your thought processes are on the actual tipping.
Well, one, I like it when they make it easy for me. So a lot of times at the bottom of the receipt, or if they bring you a tablet, they'll ask you how much you want to tip, and it'll give a percentage. 15's this, 20's this, 25's that. That makes it easy for me. Usually when I got that, they'll get a higher tip because I don't have to figure it up. I'll be like, yep, that's it. Boom, here you go. I'll usually give you the higher one, depending on how they are, of course. I'm usually a decent tipper because I appreciate what they're doing, especially if we've had a good experience. And I even like the ones that they know the right time to come. They don't bother you too much, but they know, hey, I need to go back to this table. Recently, we went to a restaurant and we sat down. It was 25 minutes before the waitress even came over to take our drink order, and then it was a 2-hour dinner. And when you usually think it's a 2-hour dinner, you probably think of a 5-course meal. We ate pizza. All right? I mean, and there was a group of us. There was a group of 6 of us. And no one had anything too fancy. It wasn't a fancy restaurant. It was busy. The girl was, she was working her butt off, which I give... Who in the world? And... I don't know. I tipped her. I tipped her the normal. It was 15%, because she did do her job. Wasn't as efficient as it was like. But even, you think, well, they could be having an off night, and maybe something that you do a little bit gratuitous, and maybe it turns their night around. I don't know.
I'll like if they're really bad and it's their fault, they'll get 15%. But for the most part, if they're frustrated, I can see like. Sometimes I'll tip them more. Depends. Well, that makes somebody's day. It really does.
Have you ever? Well, you think about it. Their salary or what they're getting paid hourly is less than minimum wage because of the tips that they make. And a lot of them are probably, it's based on their rent. If they have a good week, then they get to eat and have electricity again for another month. But I've never worked in the food industry to be on tips.
I've never actually worked in the food industry, so I can't really.
I did mow a lot of yards. And I had a lot of yards, so I think what I did was a good job. But, of course, this was several years ago, and I never got tipped back then. I think they just paid what I charged for the yard, and, that was it. I didn't even think about tips back then when I was that age. I think I mowed yard from when I was 8th grade till I was a senior in college.
Well, I do know a little bit about the food industry because I've watched Waiting. So everything I do, I'm basing it solely off of waiting. My wife, she worked at a restaurant and then, but she worked in fast food from as soon as she could, 16, well into college, I know. But I didn't know what your thought process was on the whole thing.
I'm usually a decent tipper. Let me ask you this. You go to Sonic?
No, I don't tip. So I use their little card machine. And I don't need a Sonic that often, but their card machine will mess up or something like that, and it won't allow me to put it on tip. Well, I don't carry cash. So the only time I don't tip...
Can you tip on their card machine?
I don't think it gives you an option.
No, it doesn't. You put it in, and it says accepted, it pays, and that's it. And I feel so bad when
I
they
don't feel
come up.
bad because if they want to fix it, that's on them.
So... Most of them now have the drive-thru, and I try to go to the drive-thru just so that they don't have to come out and I don't feel obligated to tip. But now, when they come out there, especially when the weather's kind of crappy, and they do deliver your food, I feel bad if I don't have cash to tip them.
Yeah, for the most part, I don't tip. Speaking of 2-hour meals, I remember I took my dad to Kobe's Steakhouse there in Columbia, and he doesn't our family doesn't eat a lot of Asian food, so he likes it. So I was gonna take him here, really nice place, it's Hibachi Grill. Well, they serve you meals, and they'll serve you a little here, and then they'll cook up the rest, serve you that. My dad hated it, so I don't think he was ready to tip that guy anything.
Well, then when you go to a place like that, not only do you have to, your tip goes to your waiter, it also goes to your cook at the table. So, you're just doubling up on your tips.
But yeah, if I don't have the cash, I hate to say it, but I don't tip for the most part. But I try to have a few bucks on me. But
Yeah, I'm getting better at that. Just because I feel guilty if I don't have anything to tip them, or if that car doesn't allow it to.
Yeah. Well, I think that kind of hits us at our cap for the episode. I do want to add a few things. The website will be up and running, God willing. Whether I put up a crappy website or not and don't tell you about it, that's probably how it's going to go down.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
I'll probably do that. But we also entered ourselves in a podcast competition, kind of just stumbled on this road competition.
Yep, Road Mics.
Road Mics. They are, I do believe they're an Australian company originally. They've got, they don't have like stores here, but they have vendors that sell the stuff around. And we entered in a 2-minute clip. 1 minute of it's entry, and 1 minute of it is the interview with Troy Green, episode 20, I think it was, right?
Yep. So
we entered that, and pretty much we have till March. I don't even remember. March, I'm horrible on the time. But I think sometime in the middle of March. So if you guys could please go to road.com/myroadcast. And then if you click on the listen button, you can just type in Geo Bachelors or just Geo. I think it pops up. You'll see our emblem there and vote on it. That would be very much appreciated. I don't know how it'll work out, but I mean,
well, it does a couple things for us. For one, for those that have already done that, thank you. We appreciate it. Please share it. That would be awesome to spread the word. We do want to get more listeners, and I think the content we're coming out is better for the most part. The feedback that we have gotten has been positive, both that they like it, and two, hey, give us ideas, and you all need to do this, and it has made our show a little bit better, and we are conscious about some of the stuff we say or do or put out. So get that out so we get more reviews so that we can make this better. We can provide you better content. The sound would be better with some new mics.
Yeah.
A little bit more professional. Not that we're professional.
Yeah. I don't think this sounds horrible, though, to be honest. But that's neither here nor there. But let's go on our socials. Geo Bachelors podcast on everything with the exception of Instagram. It's the Geo Bachelors.
Yep. And for those of you that are on Instagram, I am about finished with the David Goggins book.
Oh, yeah.
And what I was going to do is once I'm finished, once you see that up on our Instagram, the best comment, and we'll vote on it, the best comment that's left in the remarks, we'll we will mail you the book so you can read it and maybe pass it on to somebody else.
Yeah. So you liking it? We're not going to really talk on it, but
we'll wait till I finish and then we'll go into it. But yeah, so I think that's something I'm not going to read it again.
Yeah. No.
So I'll do that for some of our listeners and spread the word. And we like to see some comments. I'm more partial to the ones that make me laugh than anything else. So let's see what you got.
All right. I think that's it. Ready?
Can you even do this?
We're going to do the right hand. So ready?
Out.